Welcome back. Thank you for supporting the channel. So when it's all said and done, what is the end game for the country? In the aftermath of the George Floyd murder and the Rayshard Brooks murder, what is the end game going forward? Protesters are still protesting. They are still angry. They still want their demands to be met. There's still a fight for equality in this country. It's an ongoing fight. I believe it will always be an ongoing fight because of the resistance. And when you have a majority that's so used to having a protocol and a status quo for centuries, what is the end game as far as civil unrest, as far as satisfying and making things right for people of all genders, of all races? What is the common ground? What is the beginning point of when we can have a true dialogue and not just a yelling contest? It's a perplexed question. I'm trying to figure it out. Every day I try to figure out, okay, so where it is all going to lead up to. I mean, the obvious question is you have to have laws passed, you have to put laws on ballots, you have to have the respective states and their citizens of those states and residents of those states vote on certain things. You have 50 states at this moment that each state has their issues. You know, the so-called red states and the blue states. So, when I look at it, you have a Democratic Party that's rapidly leaning far left. You have a Republican Party that's rapidly becoming a radical party. A lot of Republicans that are in place now in Congress and in the Senate seem to be mute when it comes to what the current president of the United States, President Trump, do or say on the airways and tweet about. They become silent. They have not really showed leadership. No one has stepped out, maybe outside of Romney, to say that he doesn't agree with the tactics that the president uses to divide the country. The Democrats, you have the squad, you have the young ladies that are really coming in strong and trying to push their agenda for equality. And you do have some Republicans that want equality too. They want to have these conversations. But my question is, where's the end game? So if everybody gets what they want, let's say everybody's satisfied with what they want, which I don't think it's ever going to be, but just hypothetically say that. Protests is we're always going to have protests. That's the American way. There's always going to be a segment of America who doesn't feel like they're being being included in, as far as their agendas and their platforms seem to be overlooked. I mean, Washington, D.C. has voted for themselves to become a state. You have people in Washington, D.C. that don't feel like they're getting a fair shake. They say they're getting taxation without representation. They pay a lot of taxes. They feel that it's time for them to become a state, the 51st state in this country. I agree with them. But where's the leadership going in this country is basically what I'm saying. I mean, it's been for 12 years, maybe 16 years, it's been a divide, and it's getting bigger, and it seems like no one is willing to step to the middle and bring the country together. People, I see lip service about that, but when I hear them maybe a week later, there's something totally different. Now I know they could be playing up to their bases and stuff like that, so that's to be expected. It's politics. That's the game of politics. But America is wounded. It's wounded socially. And it's been wounded for a long time. And that wound is festering. And you can use all the bandage and everything that you have available to you, but there's still leakage from that wound. It's still bleeding. It's not clotting. And it's not healing. So this is why it's so important to have leadership when it comes to a youth movement in this country with new ideas. Some of them might be radical. Some of them might be far-fetched. Some of them might be pipe dreams. But that's America. You know, that's America. You might ridicule one person's idea. You might praise another one's idea. That's just the way America works. You have a media that's becoming very aggressive. You have the Me Too culture. You have the council culture. You have Black Lives Matter. You have militias marching in states and arming themselves and telling black citizens is your duty, you need to arm yourself. I'm not gonna speak on that they're pushing that. I think that's their platform. So there's, but where's the conversation? Are we to a point where we can't have a conversation? Are we to a point we just can't sit down and talk as Americans and not just as red and blue? Are we to a point where everything is so extreme and nothing is negotiable? So this is just things that I think about, and I come here and I ask you people in America, and I ask for your feedback. I ask you to educate me, steer me in the right direction. So there's a lot going on in America right now, as we see. There's a lot of stuff that people want removed, as far as monuments, statues, and so forth. Flags. Everybody's not going to be a kumbaya and agree to everything. We know that. It's just not going to happen. People have their own train of thought and what their value system and their beliefs are. So, but you should be able to have a conversation. Black people are fed up because of obviously the violence committed by police officers on black people and people in general. So there's police reform on the table. There's defunding the police departments on the table. There's the issue of the Second Amendment. There's school shootings. There's always this security threat of a terrorist attack. There's the Russian problem that's compromising our free elections. There's China. There's COVID-19. So I just want to know where the end game is at, if there is one. I don't think it will be an end game. I just think, where's the solutions? I need to know that. I think America needs to know that. We're in it together. We have to work with each other. Some choose not to work with the other side, and vice versa. But how do you accomplish stuff when you're not going to work and sit down, have a general conversation, just a genuine conversation about the issues of America, without being a shouting match, without someone yelling and pointing and insulting, name calling. We have to be adults, or at least pretend to be adults. It's a fine line between madness, anarchy. But we come to a place where we have to basically ask ourselves as a country, and we have to heal as a country and come together as a country. That way we can prosper as a country. And I know there's a faction of Americans that don't even want that to happen. I'm not naive. I know there's people that want this country to be just like it is, fighting against each other. But that's not going to work long term. So we have to really have these conversations when it comes to the future and going forward and getting back on our feet as Americans, and just try to work things out as best we can and listen to each other. Have compassion. Like I said, everything is not the end all be all. Believe it or not, we have more in common that we generally disagree with. There is some common ground that we just take our pride and kind of put it back in the back burner just a little bit and just kind of sit down and have a general conversation. That's just my spiel. That's just how I think. I could be wrong though. What do you think? Ponder it. Let me know. All right, I'm out. Have a great Thursday afternoon.